Good afternoon, I'm Cari Davies. US President Joe Biden has defended the decision to supply Ukraine with controversial cluster bombs, saying the country risks running out of ammunition. The weapons are banned in more than 120 countries, including the UK. Today, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the government discourages their use. The decision has also drawn criticism from some NATO allies, with fears they'll lead to civilian casualties. Jay Akbar reports.
Cluster bombs have already been used by both sides in Ukraine. But could the United States' decision to send more represent a dangerous escalation in an already brutal conflict? It argues they're a necessary evil in driving back Russian troops.
They either have the weapons to stop the Russians now keep them from stopping the Ukrainian offensive through these areas, or they don't, and I think they needed them.
These soldiers, Mr. Biden says, are running out of ammunition. And in recent weeks, the counter-offensive against Russia has stalled. For these reasons, Ukraine's president says the decision is timely. He's believed to have assured the US they won't be used in civilian areas. Even the troops who will soon be firing them understand the dangers involved.
We will have to use fewer shells if they are cluster munitions. It affects a greater area than high explosive projectiles that we usually fire.
That's because the munitions scatter small explosives over a wide area. They can kill indiscriminately, and some don't explode, not right away. They sit dormant until they're picked up or trodden on, posing a risk to civilians. And so the decision is already dividing opinion. Germany, a signatory of the Convention on Cluster Munitions, sympathises with the decision.
We are dealing with a special situation here. Ukraine uses ammunition to protect its own civilian population.
For the Secretary-General of the United Nations, it remains a red line not to be crossed.
He does not want there to be continued use of cluster munitions on the battlefield.
It will no doubt be a high priority topic at the NATO summit in Lithuania next week. Even if they reinvigorate Ukraine's counter-offensive, there are those who will ask, at what cost? Jay Akbar, ITV News.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined by our political correspondent, Tom Sheldrick. Tom, this is slightly awkward timing, isn't it?
Yes, Cari. President Biden is due to arrive in the UK tomorrow. They meet Rishi Sunak on Monday. And the UK has previously called for an end to the use of cluster munitions around the world. The government have not volunteered any comment on this move by the United States, but the Prime Minister was asked about it this morning.
Well, the UK is signatory to a convention which prohibits the production or use of cluster munitions and discourages their use. We will continue to do our part to support Ukraine against Russia's illegal and unprovoked invasion. We've done that by providing heavy battle tanks and most recently long-range weapons, and hopefully all countries can continue to support Ukraine.
Well, in the realms of diplomacy, I think that sounded pretty close to Rishi Sunak saying he doesn't agree with the US's decision, and with some other NATO members also uneasy about it. The timing is tricky, with President Biden also due to attend that NATO summit in the middle of the week. It could be a real test of the unity of the alliance in terms of their approach to the war in Ukraine. Indeed, Tom. Thank you. The BBC has said it takes any allegations very seriously after it was reported one of its high-profile presenters paid a teenager for explicit pictures. According to the Sun newspaper, the unnamed star paid tens of thousands of pounds to the individual, starting when they were 17. ITV News understands the presenter is not scheduled to be on air in the coming days. The family of Selina Lau, who was killed when a car crashed into an end-of-term school party, has paid tribute to an intelligent and cheeky girl. Another 8-year-old girl remains in hospital in a life-threatening condition. Runners across the UK have taken part in events to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the National Health Service. It's hoped the event will encourage more people to take up exercise and healthy living, as well as paying tribute to NHS staff and volunteers. Graham Stothard has more.
For park runners up and down the country today, a particularly special event. Not so much a race as a tribute. Hundreds of thousands of people running in hundreds of towns and cities to celebrate 75 years of the NHS. Among the runners here at Bushy Park in London, Ellen Spear, who is also celebrating her 100th park run.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about working for the NHS for the last 12 years or so, and yeah, just amazing to see so many people celebrating the NHS and the amazing work that everyone kind of tries to do.
Having been set up nearly 20 years ago, Park Run, the now famous Saturday morning 5K, has spread across the UK and even the world. But the first one took place right here in 2004 with just 13 people, and since then it's become a bit of a national institution. Free to attend with the aim of getting people fit, happy and healthy. Remind you of anything? Those running here, those paying tribute, were profoundly proud to be doing so.
And of course we want to support the NHS.
Yes, support the NHS. Yeah. We're very grateful to the NHS. Yeah. They've actually saved my life a couple of times, so yeah.
We're so thankful to have all the amazing cures for stuff, and they help us with everything.
Parkrun can now be prescribed by certain GPs to help people with their health. What greater tribute to the NHS than helping support it? Graham Stothard, ITV News.
And the last Brit standing in the Wimbledon singles is due on centre court later. Katie Boulter faces her biggest challenge of the tournament so far as she takes on defending champion Elena Rybakina. The British #1 is the last home player in the singles draw after British men Cameron Norrie, Andy Murray and Liam Brodie were all knocked out yesterday. That's it from us. ITV News is back at 7. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye.